Had the most interesting conversation not too long ago with actually a minister colleague. And she was really struggling with this notion of love, the love that is the universe, and the love of the divine, and the love that is the impulse of creation itself. Because we don't actually think of there being someone out there to love us in the same way that we might have grown up in a traditional Western religion. The Eastern traditions don't have this quite so intensely as we do in the West. And Ernest Holmes writes, love is the self-givingness of spirit into creation. The self-givingness of spirit into creation. And so when we sing, pour yourself in me, this isn't actually a wish or a hope or a desire. This is a statement of fact that the divine impulse, the divine life is actually pouring itself in, through, and as all of creation, and in, through, and as us. That's why we call it source. We call it source energy because it is the source of all life. And it has given everything, all of itself, to become creation, right? So that means everything is made out of the one infinite life. It's given of its nature into the creative process. It's given of its intelligence into the whole way in which life unfolds, and it's given of its very essence, which is what is the breath, the animating breath of consciousness itself. So it has left nothing on the table. It has given everything of itself into creation, and as you and me, all beings everywhere. And where there is an awakening to that fact, that's what we call self-awareness, the awakening of consciousness, that everything has been given and that we are now consciously engaged in that. We can set our own firework off. We can be the firework we have come here to be. We can allow that light to pour through us. Do you see? And everything we need to be the firework has already been given. There is no greater love. That is how loved you are. You are love made manifest. You are the love of the universe showing up. One of the ways in which we can experience this is to open ourselves to the floodgates that is that love, to experience the generosity that is life itself, and to recognize that it needs us. It needs us to now consciously be that. All of creation is the automatic outpicturing of that, the generic outpicturing of that, the universal outpicturing of that. But now we're awakening to the fact that each one of us is individually our own firework, and we get to express that. Actually, we need to express that. Not just for us. Not only do we need each other, but the universe needs us. The universe is unexpressed until your firework goes off. So it's not just that I need you and you need me. The universe itself needs us. And sure to heaven, humanity needs us, doesn't it? So if it's flowing through us, right, the very life is flowing through us, what it is that we want to do is to consciously be part of that flow. So today I am giving Karen's talk for you, and with my own sensibility to it, but I love this. She said, well, it's all about gems. We're all gems. Right? We're all jewels of the one, and the gems are moving as the love and light and life that we are. So we're going to talk about the gems. The gems are the generosity of energy, money, and spirit. The gems in our lives are the generosities of money, of energy, money, and spirit. So generosity, right? As we understand, the universe is so generous that it has given itself in its entirety as you and me. That's what it means to be a center of the universe, right? The fabulous statement that says, Spirit, the universal one, God, is a circle whose center is everywhere. And whose circumference is nowhere, right? So the center of the universe, a center of the universe is right here and here and here and here and there 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 and there, right? Not the center, the only center, but a center. So that is, all of it has been generously given. I love this quote from Ernest Holmes, reminding us that generosity passes through us. We should give of ourselves in love and in service to others, in a spirit of generosity and good fellowship. To refuse to give is to refuse to receive, for everything moves in circles. Real giving is the givingness of the self. Real giving is the givingness of a self. A kind word, a thoughtful act, perhaps just a smile, can help lighten the burdens of others. Do you see, the generosity of spirit is so fully and freely being flowing through us to enliven our own lives that generosity has to flow outward. It has to keep moving, because that's what we're here to do. We're not here to hoard. We're here to express. We're not here to say mine. We're here to live and to be that firework, right? The firework in the box doesn't do anything, does it? And, I will tell you that I have in the past been one of those people who, when I was a kid and we would get a string of fireworks, and we would get, those crackers and those kinds of things, right? And I'd be like, oh, but if I explode it, I won't have it anymore. So it would literally sit in my drawer, and it could sit in my drawer for 2 years. So I never got to experience it because because I realized that once I'd set it off, it would be gone. That would be it, right? As if there were no other fireworks. This is the firework, and that's it. And if I use it, I'm done, right? But do you see how that kind of thing, now I will... Oh, man, I'm just really going to out myself here. Okay, so I like to dabble in painting, and I have had a beautiful easel, and I've, had paints for years. And a few years ago, I thought, well, why, if you have all this, are you not painting? Oh, because I don't have time. Oh, because I'm too busy. Oh, because of, my son. Oh, because of this, blah, 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 right? Rationalization, excuse. So I said, no, I'm going to make a little studio upstairs and put my paints out, and I'm going to put them out there, and I'm going to put them out there, and I'm going to start painting. I painted a couple pictures. And you know what I thought? Oh, I'm using up my paints. I literally walked away. I walked away for months because I was using up my paints. As if, it was crazy. It was like, and can I just admit I still struggle with this? It's not like these paints are very expensive. I buy the school paints at Michael's, right? They're not all that expensive. But when you paint, you use them up. And as long as they're sitting there, somehow I still have the possibility of painting. Like, does this make any sense at all? No, not of course. It makes no sense, right? But this is the thing that we do with ourselves. This is the craziness that goes on in our own. Okay, maybe just my mind. I don't know. I have to get water here, so. Right, but think about all the ways in which we do that. So I was not expressing or experiencing my joy of color I won't say that I'm a painter, but I love color. I want to put it on thick, like Vincent van Gogh. I want you to want to like eat the paint. That's how thick I want to put it on there, right? Okay, that uses a lot of paint. That is a problem. So then I have to go out and buy more paint. So it's safer to not paint and leave it in the jar. Is that just the stupidest thing you've ever heard? Oh my God, when I began realizing how much that thought was running me, it was like leaving my firework in the box, wasn't it? Nonsense. And that is how we stop the flow. There's so many ways in which we develop these crazy ideas and we stop the flow. And we do not replicate the generosity that is given to us. Or maybe I don't. So, generosity of energy, money, and spirit. Energy, the generosity of energy. Ernest Holmes says this: we should allow the gifts of life to flow out to everything we touch, everyone we meet, every situation we contact. A little bit like being a firework in the sky, right? Then wherever we go, every situation is blessed, every person is helped, every discord is harmonized without our even being conscious of it. Because we're simply showing up as a benevolent presence, as the energy of love, as the willing hands, willing hearts, willing participation. Ernest Holmes goes on to say there can be no real gift unless the giver goes with it. Giving includes more than the giving of money or things. It includes the giving of service or whatever we have to others. But always the gift and the giver must go hand in hand. Love is the self-givingness of spirit into creation. Do you see? It is the giving of ourselves. Not in some, codependent, martyred, sacrificial way, okay? Let's just put all that aside because we are learning to be emotionally intelligent and grown-up, healthy people. Or at least we're trying, right? We are trying, right? But to really recognize that we have to go along with our gift. We don't do it to shut someone up, or we don't do it because we're supposed to do it, or we don't do it because, it's going to get us points in heaven, or whatever it is. We do it because it is the self-givingness of ourselves into creation, into the creation of our lives, and into the creation of the life that we are creating collectively together as a community, as Dallas, as a nation, right? As humanity as a whole. So when we are contributing our energy, we are allowing that generosity to flow. There's lots and lots and lots of ways in which we can be generous with our energy. Presence, attention, being aware of what's going on around us, being that benevolent presence, not getting sucked into the swirl, not allowing the things that are outside of our control to impact us and take it in so much that it shifts our energy. Right? But to be an energy that is pouring itself outwardly from that infinite source, that infinite stream. And it's also another way in which we share our energy is we give of our time, right? We go and do things, we volunteer. So I want to remind you that we have a volunteer opportunity. This is a way you can bring your energy into the world and be generous with it. We're going on June 4th to Bonton Farms from 9 to noon. We need a minimum of 20 volunteers to sign up for this, and we want you to be a part of this. If you are in the DFW area, Bonton Farms is this amazing place. They have a huge a farm and they have a restaurant, and they hire nothing but people, a lot of young people that are coming out of the prison systems that are seeking to make their lives work. And it is an extraordinary place. So we're going to go down there on June 4th, and we are going to weed and hoe and plant and clean, and we are going to lend our energy not just to the plants and the animals, not just to the restaurant, not just to the people who are going to come eat at that restaurant, but to the lives that Bonton Farms touches, right? To the people who are given a step up, a leg up, a place, because others have been willing to lend their energy. So there's a QR code. If you're online, you can get the QR code and you sign up on some volunteer form and you say, I'm going with CSLDallas to Bonton Farms. You can also RSVP at CSLDallas.org. RSVP at CSLDallas.org and say, I'm coming to Bonton Farms. And somebody will send you the link where you register, because you do have to fill out a liability waiver, and they need to know who's coming. We want to have 20 people. Actually, we'd love to have people on the waiting list so that we can go down there again. This is what it means to lend our energy, to show up, to be present, to give that generous amount of time to something or someone. And then we become fireworks in someone else's life, don't we? Yeah. Opportunities like this abound everywhere. CSLDallas is committed to presenting these for us to come together, right? And not just be about ourselves and not just be about our own community, but to spread that generosity around. Money. Woo! Yeah. Right? Karen's talked about inflow and abundance and the oceanic substance and how it's always flowing, right? We talked about stewardship, right? What we're doing while we're in it, and we have to talk about the outgo. When I first learned about spirituality and money, I thought, wow, this is the most amazing thing. When I give my money, what I'm saying to the universe is I have enough, because I can give this away. Do you know that when I first started doing that, I wasn't sure, so what I did was I pretended. I acted as if I had enough. I can give this away, because I'm so grateful that the universe has so much generosity that is pouring into my life. Of course I can be generous, right? So I started out like many people, with 1% or 2% of, and I think I said the other day, Karen and I, we figured out in our last couple of tax returns that we give away 20% of our money. Why? Here's why. Life is an eternal givingness, the offering of the cosmic self to the joy of its own fulfillment. You and I are a part of this joy, and we find fulfillment only as this joy passes through us to others. Everything moves in circles. We short-circuit our own good when we refuse to pass it on. To feel generous. I remember a member of our community one time saying, by God, I'm going to be part of the Generous Givers event because I want to know that I am that generous. To feel the generosity of spirit, to feel the generosity of life, when we're able to hold that lightly and to feel it passing through us. Why? Because there's enough, because we are sourced from something so much bigger than what we ourselves hold in our hands. Generosity of money is such a powerful statement of gratitude and enoughness. And you can use it to pry yourself out of a belief in not enough. Every time you give money, you can say, oh, look, see, there was enough. I could still pay my bills. Oh, look, there was still enough. That's what I did month after month, year after year. Wow, look, I've given, I've increased my giving, and there's still enough. I don't know. It's all smoke and mirrors, you guys. I have no idea how it works, other than that the universe is forever giving. I can't outgive the generosity of that floodgate. There's no way that we can outgive that. And so we build our confidence in the generosity of spirit, and we build our experience of our generosity. And we become a firework in other people's lives. And we give to those things where we're spiritually fed, or those things that are important, those causes that are important to us, which is, of course, why we give 20%, 10% to where we're spiritually fed. And then it appears to be that as we go through the year and we find the things that are important to us, we end up giving away another 10%. My goal is to be like some of those people. Ultimately, my goal is to give 90% of my income away. Why? Because that means Spirit is flooding me with generosity. Do you see? And the circle just gets bigger and bigger, and the fireworks get bigger and bigger, and more people are inspired by that firework, and more people are served. Do you see? It's just nothing but expansion and good. All right, so you know it's coming. You have 2 opportunities in which to be financially generous. The first one is teen camp. Bakari and 3 other teens are going to teen camp in July. We're super excited about this. So we have 6 people, 4 teens. I can't do my hands. 4 teams and 2 advisors. That's 6 people. 4 teens and 2 advisors are going to be going to teen camp. It's super exciting. It's in person after 2 years of being shut down. The other really cool thing is CSL, Centers for Spiritual Living, has just bought a camp in Oregon, Washington. Yes, and they bought one. It's already got a lot of people who rent there, but that means that they now have a place for teen camp to go. They don't have to rent from somebody else. And so this is going to be the first year our teens are going to be at the camp whose name escapes me now. I'm really sorry. I should have memorized that, but I can't remember what it's called. Camp Ridge? Is that right? Wow, Camp Ridge, and it's in Oregon. Thank you. And it's very exciting. We participated personally. CSLDallas participated. I know other members of our community gave money to the purchase of this camp. Super exciting. And so our kids get to go for the first time in 3 years now. This will to go. And so $6,000. We're looking to raise $6,000 for our kids to go. $1,000 for 4 kids each, for 4, and then the 2 advisors. And so we really want you to participate. You can scan the QR code if you're online, or you can go to CSLDallas.org/give, and on the drop-down menu, pick Teen Camp. And then that money will go to Teen Camp. We're raising $6,000 this week and next. And because we have to get these kids going, is it not July, is it June? Somebody knows what's going on. I love it. Yay. Thank you so much. July 6th through July 13th, but we have to get that sent in June. So that's the first opportunity for generosity to our teens, to our own teens who we love and adore and want them to have this experience. I was a teen advisor for years. I used to go to teen camp every year. It's amazing. It's an amazing experience. We want every teen that we can get our hands on to go. Okay, there is a second opportunity that we would like to invite you to participate in. You can certainly choose one or the other, or you can support both. This is the Marucha Community Nursery and Primary School. It's located in the windy, impenetrable forest where Karen and Daniel from our community went gorilla trekking at this most recent trip to Africa. So I'm going to read what Karen wrote for me. This school is in a community that rarely gets tourists, deep into the heart of the forest. This is the only school in the area where the children do not have a proper floor, nor desks or chairs to sit on. Because Karen and Daniel fell in love with the Ugandan people, we are adopting this school. We're raising money for a cement floor. As you can see in that one large picture, it's a dirt floor, and there's nothing to sit on, not even mats. Raising money for a cement floor and 30 desks and chairs, $2,500. For a cement floor and 30 desks and chairs. The woman in the picture is the school's director. Her name is Grace, and the other gentleman is Finney, who was their guide and who brought them to this school. Reverend Karen is also sponsoring 6 kids for the year so that they can stay in school, $10 per month per student. $10 per month per student for them to be able to stay in school and not have to work for their families. If you'd like to sponsor a child, you can send an email directly to revkaren@CSLDallas.org. But what we want to do, CSL Dallas, is we want to provide them with this cement floor and desks and chairs. And every year we will be participating, just as we do with Gooch. Our adopted school here in town, we do at Gooch. We do the drive for school supplies and uniforms in the summer, and we do the Thanksgiving baskets in the fall. And so we're adopting this school in Uganda. So again, there's a QR code. It goes to the same place, csldallas.org/give. And the drop-down menu, the drop-down says the Marucha Community School. And we'd love for you to participate in your generosity. Think about, when was the last time you were even in a building that only had a dirt floor? When was the last time? Gosh, I can't even remember, right? And so what's also unique about this particular school, Karen told me when she came home and why she was so excited about it, is the number of girls that are in the school. 50% almost of the kids are girls. Which is hugely important, as you know. The education of girls and women around the world is definitely increasing, and it's definitely important. So ways in which to be generous. There's lots of ways in which to be generous. You guys continue to be super generous here at CSL Dallas. We are not out of the woods yet ourselves this year. We're continuing to grow and rebuild out of the pandemic, and your generosity really makes a huge difference. There's so many ways that we can keep this generosity flowing. And again, remember last week, choices, choices, choices. You don't have to give to everything. You can't necessarily give to everything. Pick the things that are important and valuable to you. Karen and I just had this conversation at the beginning of the year. 3 environmental programs we did an extensive research on. They have incredible credibility. We like the kinds of programs they're doing. They're doing them all over the world. 3, we've picked 3. And so those are the ones we're supporting. We're looking at other social justice ones and narrowing the field and saying, okay, which ones of these are going to be supporting? Because we don't want to just nickel and dime at $5 here, $5 there. We'd like to give significant contributions to certain places that we feel are really doing that, right? Choices, choices. And you don't have to feel like you have to support everything. Other people are supporting the things that you can't or don't or choose not to. Not so that you can't, but that you choose not to. Right? The choice of generosity is so powerful, and it is a representation of the generosity that we are being flooded with ourselves. Finally, the generosity of spirit, right? We talked about that spirit is flowing into and through us, and it is also our spiritual work to be generous with our intentions, with our prayers. I love that. I need you. I'll pray for you. Please pray for me, right? The generosity of lifting each other up, the generosity of being for people and for things and for a shift in consciousness. Ernest Holmes says this: real giving is the art of transmitting ourselves to others and to the conditions and situations that surround us. This kind of giving is not something for special occasions only, for it should become a habit growing out of our desire to live life to the fullest extent. Transmitting ourselves to others and to the conditions and situations in our lives. This does not mean that because we choose not to inundate ourselves with the news, that we are carefully curating what we read and what we take in. This does not mean we withdraw our energy. We do not withdraw our spirit. We do not shake our head and turn away and say, well, I can't believe it, and leave it at that. Right? To give is to transmit of ourselves to others and the conditions and circumstances. So we are transmitting our positive expectation. We are transmitting our vision of what an awakened humanity looks like. We are transmitting our intention and our conscious work toward all of the shifts in consciousness that bring about this life that works for everyone. And when we are doing that, we are giving of ourselves at the deepest possible level. And so we really invite you to participate. Oh, I'm going to talk about this other thing first. We'll do this. Invite you to participate in this new initiative we're calling 12 for 12, Be a Force for Good in the World. 12 for 12. On June 1st, starting on June 1st, Monday through Friday, you can join myself and Patty and Brianna and Avis for conscious spiritual work for 12 minutes on the issues and situations and circumstances that face us today. From climate change to the economy to racial inequity to immigration to women's issues to men's issues to the LGBT. I mean, the list is long, is it not? To homelessness and poverty. We can lend our spiritual intentionality to lift consciousness, to shift consciousness by focusing on our vision of a future that works for all of us, and to not be moved and not be fooled by any situations or circumstances or fear or doubt that we ourselves may be experiencing or that we see in the world. At 12 noon, 12 minutes of conscious intentionality, Monday through Friday. We want to use our tools intentionally. So bring your spirit, bring your generous time of that portion of time. Come every day, come once a week, come as often as you can to be part of being this generous spirit that is not turning away from the conditions in the world, but is saying, we will lift consciousness, we will raise consciousness, we will raise the vibration of humanity on the planet and make a difference. This is what it means to transmit ourselves to others and to the circumstances and situations, not getting sucked into them, but raising them up in our mind and heart. And when you are part of CSLDallas, we really invite you to do the same. When you're part of CSLDallas, we invite you to participate at every level, get involved, be a part of it, volunteer, give money, give your attention, do your spiritual work around the health and well-being of this community, because you carry a piece of the vision. You carry a piece of the vision about what this community is capable of doing, is able to be for yourself, for other members of the community, and as a beacon of light in the world. You carry a piece of that vision, and we need you, and we need your gifts and talents and participation. If you're in the DFW area, there's lots of things that you can do locally. If you're online, we need you just as much. And we haven't quite figured out all the ways that our people online can volunteer, but I'm thinking you out there know a way that you can support, you can participate, you can be a part of CSLDallas. So please email anybody on the staff directory and say, I have an idea. I have an idea. This is a way, as an online person, I can be generous. I can lend my spirit, time, and attention. Right? Because there's so much that together we can do when we are together in spirit, when we come together in this way. We want to do it for the planet, we want to do it for humanity, and we want to do it here for this community so that we continue to support each other in ways that we haven't been able to over the last couple of years. So in closing, Ernest Holmes writes this: only that which becomes an inward habit of thought can spontaneously flow from the heart and transmit itself to everything we touch. Only that which becomes an inward habit, right? The inward habit of generosity spontaneously flows from the heart and transmits itself to everything we touch. Just as life belongs to the one who lives it, to the one who takes it, so the fuller life belongs only to the one who scatters every good they have. It is the giving of oneself to every person, every project, and every association with zest, love, and friendliness that one sees the larger possibility in all things: beauty instead of ugliness, love instead of hate, the divine hidden within the human. Our generosity opens our eyes. It opens our heart. It opens our minds and our consciousness to see truth. And when we see truth and we live truth, our firework becomes a radiant, magnificent beacon of light and love. I hope you'll join me in it. And so it is.